You've heard me say this a million times that I won the parent lottery, and I really did. Now I'm working at WMAZ Radio, WMAZ AM to be exact, a 50,000 watt blowtorch. Gary Gunter is in Atlanta going to college. I'm working with Joel Goddard. Yes, the Joel Goddard that everybody knows from Conan O'Brien. More about that later. But the interesting thing about my parents in this job is I had to be driven to work, to and from work. My shift started at 2:30 in the afternoon, and I had to be picked up at 12:30 at night on Saturday and Sunday. I'm telling you now, Monday morning was a different animal for me going to school after working until 12:30 the night before. And it just takes a special kind of parent to say, well, yeah, we'll support you in this. And I think they were kind of proud that this kid who couldn't even drive had somehow managed to secure a job at a radio station. And they thought, well, yeah, if he's got this kind of ambition, we'll support him. Of course we will. And they did. So here I am. I have my first job in radio at WMAZ. It's an amazing thing. It's what I've always planned and hoped to do. I'm excited about it. And just to be behind the board by myself, no one else there. You've got a guy that answered the phone. Occasionally there'd be an engineer or a news guy floating around. But it was me and a radio station, a 50,000 watt radio station in the hands of a 15-and-a-half-year-old. What could possibly go wrong? Joe Johnson was one of the guys that was answering the phone, and he and his wife are friends of mine even today. And it was amazing because, with my dad driving me to work, my mom driving me down for 2:30, and my dad picking me up at 12:30. And occasionally, if they go out of town or something, they'd ask Joe to take me home after work, which was really bizarre. What a kind soul Joe Johnson is, I got to tell you, in public, on video. Thank you. And yes, I did work with Joel Goddard. Now, we weren't close. He and Gary were really close because Gary was very professional and very good. I was not. And Joel he really is a genius. He's a member of Mensa, and the guy is just, off the charts smart. So, but he was very nice to me. I mean, it wasn't that we, developed any sort of close relationship. And really, what can you do in 6 months? Because I was gone pretty quick. But he was nice, and it was good for me to watch him work. He and Gary were people that instilled the basic radio principles in me, meaning that they taught me what was important to prepare, to consider it as a craft and as a business, and to present yourself in a professional manner. And these were things I really need to know from the very beginning. What I couldn't do was read news. This was back during the Vietnam War. A lot of foreign names. And I remember Ron Wildman, who became a famous newscaster himself here, was the guy that wrote my newscast. And he went through the words. He and Ken Hill would make every effort to phonetically teach me how to say a lot of these things. But the guy who ran the radio station, I swear this is not a fake name, his name is Red Cross. I don't know who was named for what, but both of them drew blood. Thank you very much. That's enough. So Red Cross made it a habit to listen to the 11 o'clock news, or listen to me murder the 11 o'clock news. And I think he could only take so much. It wasn't any problem with me operating the console. It was playing a lot of special feature things. Like we had the Victory Hour, Jimmy Waters' religious show on Saturday morning. We ran something from the 7-Eleven had a show, and all these different kind of sales that came from producing programs for different people, kind of a block programming format. I was fired from work the week I turned 16. Yes, finally, my dad doesn't have to take me to work anymore. And so he said, your mom and I are going on a little vacation, and we'll see you next week. And so I drive myself to work, and I drive back home. And that week, I got called to the radio station. We'd like for you to come and talk to us for a moment. I couldn't imagine what was going on. I got called into Bill Powell's office. Bill Powell was the program director, and he was the guy that gave me my first job. And Albert Sanders was the general manager, and the meeting was with him, but Bill Powell ran the programming part of the radio station. And so he calls me in his office, and he was so kind at the way he let me go, because he said, we want to hire a guy named Paul Beliveau, and we're going to have to get rid of one part-time employee to make this happen. And I knew I sucked and that I wasn't, I really wasn't what they were looking for. But it still was a huge disappointment. Now, I have to say that Paul Beliveau is one of my best friends now. And so we have a big laugh over this. But it really was. I mean, Bill did the best he could to let me down easily because it was my first job in radio. And I was devastated. I was literally devastated. I remember leaving the office and thinking, I've spent all this time. I built this radio station in my basement. I've always wanted to be on radio. I finally got to be on radio, and now I'm not. What am I going to do? Now I have nowhere to go. What will I do? I call my parents, and I'm just going, I don't know. This is weird. What am I going to do? Same conversation. They said, just calm down. Calm down. Regroup. Go apply at some other stations. Any place else you want to work? And I said, well, WNEX is the top 40 station, but God, I've been fired from MAZ. It's the best place to work in town. If I can't work there, my dad encouraged me to apply there. Little did I know that if you put that you had worked at WMAZ on your application, any other station in town would have hired me. And that's exactly what happened. Coming up next, I'm heading to the Big X.